Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This video here is a video in a series of videos where we talk about the best cards that are in this new set, Wilds of Eldraine. This video, of course, will cover the cards that I think are the top 10 best cards from this particular rarity, right? And of course, we're talking about masterpieces. These are the top 10 masterpieces in no particular order for the Wilds of Eldraine series. Okay, so let's get started here with Shattergang Brothers, right? Shattergang Brothers is a creature card, has this bargain ability right there. It says create 2 food tokens, destroy 10 gems of your opponent's planeswalker colors. When a card you control is destroyed during your turn, destroy a random opposing card. This is very good. I like this especially because what you can do is you can load this card up with other cards like these Rat Swarm tokens that we've been talking about throughout this whole entire series of videos. If you have a Rat Swarm token out, that card gets destroyed. You can destroy a card from your opponent's side. So that's pretty good. There's cards that will pair well with that kind of a strategy. There's cards that will allow you to put down another Rat Swarm token when one of those Rat Swarm tokens is destroyed. So it becomes a nice situation where you can lock out your opponent, keep things off of the battlefield on their side, and just use that to control the battle. And you know, this is a really good card that will help you to do that. Okay, here's the next one, Earl the Mist Stalker. This is a nice one here. When this creature enters the battlefield, target creature you control gains the monster roll. At the beginning of your turn, this creature gets +3/+3 for each aura card in play and in your graveyard. So you can see that you can buff this creature, make them real strong. That's going to be really nice. One thing I really want to point out is that at the beginning of your turn, this creature gets +3/+3. It doesn't say you get +3/+3 until the end of turn, which means that this +3/+3 buff is going to stay with you. So that's really nice. What I would try to do is just load the graveyard as thick as possible with all the aura cards that you can play, right? If you have a lot of cards that have that aura ability in your graveyard, this guy's going to get a nice big buff turn after turn after turn. So this is a really good one. Okay, here's the next one, Tajik Blade of Allegiance. I want to point out that this one has this ability here, this prevent damage. Prevent damage is really nice. You can use prevent damage obviously with creatures that have reach or defender or vigilance, and that's going to help you to block creatures and not take damage. So that's really nice. It's a good card here because you can get this vigilance ability. All right, so you can see this card is one that's going to be able to play some good defense for you and then help you to win games. Okay, so let me just read what it says here really quickly. At the beginning of the combat on your turn, create a knight token. It gains haste until the end of turn. Okay, so that's nice. You get some tokens. This bottom part here is the one that I want to talk about. When this creature attacks Celebration, this creature gets +5/+5 and gains Vigilance until the beginning of your next turn. Celebration is a card that is an ability that's very useful when you play 2 cards or 2 cards come into play, right? So they could be cards that include this Knight token. And of course you get +5/+5 for this guy. Gets that Vigilance ability where he's able to block, not take damage. Hopefully he's going to be able to have this 5/5 with other buffs that you had, and that's going to help you to destroy creatures. Okay, Fey Offering. This is a nice one here too. It's a support card. It says when you cast a creature card for the first time each turn, increase this card's level by 1. When you cast a non-creature card for the first time during each turn, increase this card's level by 1 again. You can see that right there. At the end of each player's turn, if this card's level is 3 or more, create a clue token, create a food token, create a gold token, then this card's level becomes 1. Now, this is interesting. You can read what the clue token does, you can read what the gold token does, and the food token does. But one thing I'll point out is that all 3 of these are all considered artifacts, all right? So you can put this card with a deck that has that ability to maximize the strength of certain cards based on how many artifacts you have. There are certain cards that are out there that will say something like, give a certain creature +X+X. X is the number of artifact cards that you have, all right? And this is going to help you to put down artifacts. All right, they also count as support, so that's the same thing that you can use it for. Just make sure it says support on there. This is a card that's got a lot of ways to go, a lot of flexibility that you can get if you have this card. Here's the next card, Giome Master Chef. When this creature enters the battlefield under your control, create food tokens, 2 of them in fact. Right, so that's kind of useful, that's nice. When a player matches a food support gem, a random creature you control without prevent damage gains prevent damage and reach until the end of the turn. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. I would like obviously to have prevent damage and reach and not lose them at the end of the turn. That would be great. That's not possible with this card, but we do have a kind of a nice ability here. What we're hoping for is that your opponent is going to match those food support cards, right? Those food support gems. Once you get those food support gems to be matched, you're going to get a nice ability. You're going to be able to block and then not take damage. But the thing is, like I said, you really want your opponent to match those food gems, right? Wild Research. Mana field, draw 2 cards, discard a random card without mana from your hand, then each enchantment, spell, or card with adventure in your hand gains mana equal to the number of enchantment, spell, or cards with adventure in your graveyard. You can kind of see that this card is similar to some of these other cards that I've highlighted in this series, right? What you're going to want to do is load up that graveyard that you have with adventure cards, spell cards, enchantment cards, right? And then when you hit this ability, this mana field ability, you'll get the 2 cards, you'll discard a card without mana in your hand, and then the enchantment, spells, and adventure cards will gain mana, right? So free mana, you're going to be able to use that. This is going to be a card that's going to help you to cycle through the stuff that you have, and it's going to just hopefully load it up with mana. If you're doing it right, this should be a card that's going to help you to win a lot of games. Okay, here's the next one I want to point out, Aura Thief. Aura Thief is an illusion creature. At the end of your turn, if your opponent controls 5 or more non-aura enchantment supports, this creature gains Defender until the beginning of your next turn. Otherwise, drain 6 mana from your opponent's hand, you gain X mana. X is the amount of mana that you've drained this way. Alright, so this is the important part. What I want to explain here is this first section. At the end of your turn, if your opponent has 5 or more non-aura enchantment supports, okay, if they don't have the 5 or more, you're going to be able to use this ability, and that's really what you want to do, right? Use this ability here. It's going to let you drain 6 from your opponent's hand, which a lot of times is pretty crippling. It's pretty crushing. If you lose 6 mana every single turn, that really hurts, right? So this is a card that is going to be able to hamper your opponent, control your opponent, and help you to win games. You just kind of have to make sure you abide by this first statement here, right? If your opponent controls 5 or more aura enchantment supports, you want to try to keep them under 5. Okay, and that's going to help you. It's a really good card. I can't wait to get this card myself. Okay, here's the next one, Serra's Sanctum. Serra's Sanctum here is a support land card. At the beginning of your turn, convert X gems to white. X is 2 plus the number of enchantment cards you control, including their reinforcements. If you don't control an enchantment card, target creature you control gains Royal Roll. When an enchantment card enters into play under your control, this support gains a shield. Alright, so I'm thinking again with the enchantment cards, you can use this one with those Rat Swarms. And Rat Swarm seems to be like a really nice ability that's going to help you to win games, right? And I mentioned that throughout this entire series, and here's another card that can go to the Rat Swarm ability, right? So you can convert some white gems. Really good stuff here. Okay, here's the next one, Hellhole Rats. This is a creature, obviously it's got haste, it's 2/2. When a rat enters the battlefield under your control, your opponent discards the last card that can be discarded from their hand. If they cannot, destroy the top card from your opponent's library. Then deal X damage to your opponent's planeswalker. X is half the mana cost of the last card in your opponent's graveyard, rounded up. I think we know where I'm going to go with this. I think we're all going to be watching this and be like, uh-oh, we're going to go Rat Swarm again. Yep. We're going to go Rat Swarm again. Hellhole Rats is a nice card that really ties well to the Rat Swarm ability. And, I do like that ability. I really hope it works and is going to be able to do all these wonderful things that we're kind of thinking that it will be able to do, right? If you have the Rat Swarm ability, it's going to trigger here. It says when a rat enters the battlefield under your control, it'll trigger that. Your opponent can discard the last card that will be discarded from their hand, that can be discarded from their hand. And then that's going to be really nice. If not, you can destroy your opponent's library and then deal X damage to your opponent's planeswalker. What I'm really hoping is that you can take the Rat Swarm ability, load the battlefield with all of those Rat Swarm tokens, and use this card to do the damage for you. That's going to be great. Alright, let's talk about this one. This is the final card of this video here. Una, Queen of the Fae. When you make a blue or black match by swap, exile the top 5 cards of your opponent's library, then create a fairy token for each color among cards in your opponent's exile. Gain mana equal to the number of cards in your opponent's exile. Okay, so what I'm thinking is we're going to try to load up the opponent's exile. That's going to be done with several cards that you can kind of find, right? And then you'll be able to gain mana using this card. It's going to be a card that just helps you to increase the ability that you have to play cards, obviously. It's going to help you to do some really, really important things that you're going to want to do, okay? Okay, so anyway, these are the top 10 cards that I like from the Wilds of Eldraine in the current rarity here, this Masterpiece rarity. Please like and subscribe, it helps the channel, and let us know what you guys think. Okay, good gaming, y'all.